A top chip analyst says NVIDIA is cheaper now than before the AI boom started, and thinks the real risk isn't competition, it's the size of the opportunity. Everyone's waiting for the AI bubble to pop, but what if this bubble is actually still cheap?
People had anticipated, and yet the stock sold off, at least initially.
Yeah, initially it didn't, right? Initially it went up,
Initially it didn't,
and then everything
it went up, and then but then it gave back for the trading session. The first full trading session after the release of earnings, you definitely saw a huge chunk of the stock taken out.
Sure, but it wasn't just NVIDIA, right? Everything sold off, and in fact, NVIDIA actually outperformed the semi sector that day. So it wasn't just. And I'm not convinced that the sell-off we saw that day was necessarily like NVIDIA driven. Although I do think you're right. People are starting to get, nervous about like AI. I mean, they've been nervous, right, about bubbles and everything, but that did sort of come to the forefront, partially just because the numbers are getting so big so quickly. There were some other events last week as well. We had the release of Gemini 3 from Google, which looks like a great model. And some of the other semi names, you mentioned AMD, for example, which was down a bunch. Some of the other names that are, say, more dependent on OpenAI sold off more, I think, on the fact that Google's Gemini looks really good. So I think there were a lot of factors going on last week. I don't think it was just in NVIDIA. Although I'll be honest, I would have expected NVIDIA's results to drive a little bit better performance. That is true.
Me too. I know you raised your own price target for NVIDIA after you saw the company come out with its shares. You raised your price target and you raised your earnings estimates pretty substantially.
Yeah.
I guess if I'm trying to figure out where things stand at this point, how much of this is it easy for you to do as an analyst, where you say, these are my expectations for earnings, this is how I compute this out, and here I get to this. If you've got a lot that's riding on sentiment right now, how do you factor that in?
Well, I mean, here's our earnings and here's everything. That's the easy part. Right? I mean, actually getting it right can be tough. And look, sentiment and everything else is always part of this. Where I feel okay about NVIDIA right now, there's, like I said, it's not like, everybody has to jack up the multiple to get to the targets to where they. I mean, and I've said this many times. On this station, like the stock today is much cheaper than it was before any of this started a few years ago. Like the stock is up a ton, but the earnings have more than kept pace with it. Like I mean, it's trading in I don't know where it is, mid 20s price to forward earnings right now. It's not even aggressive if you think the numbers are anywhere close to right. So the earnings and this is the issue, right? That people are, when you see something like that, what it means is that the market is anticipating that those numbers are not sustainable, that it is a peak. And so, I mean, that is the debate now. How long can this go on? And you start to look at it, though. I've been saying this since this started. At some point, presumably there'll be an air pocket or something. Nothing goes up into the right forever, but it's clearly not now. And I don't know what it is, but it's not now. It's not this year. It certainly doesn't look like it's next year. And I mean, it may not be 2027 either. It's like things look pretty robust at the moment.
I guess when you have these really fast developments in technology, and this seems faster than just about anything we've ever seen, you're right. The leadership positions can shuffle and jostle, like you mentioned, Gemini 3 coming out and being maybe something that could steal a lot of thunder from OpenAI. But then you also have this threat of the ASICs, the custom AI chips, that all of the big purchasers of NVIDIA chips, AMD chips, are also looking to make their own. How do you get your arms around that?
Sure. Yeah, and by the way, even with that, it sort of flows back to Google. Like the only company that's really deployed ASICs in sizable at-scale volumes is Google. And to be fair, they've been doing this for well over 10 years. Like this is why. Everybody else is much earlier in the process. It takes time. Even Amazon, they've deployed, they have something called Trainium. They've deployed a little bit, but it's not anywhere near on the scale that Google has. That folds into the Gemini point earlier. I mean, they trained Gemini on TPUs, although they've been training all of their models on TPUs. TPUs are their chip. They've been training all their models on TPUs for a long time. I get the competition worry. And look, this is semiconductors. There's always competition. There's always someone looking to eat your lunch. And it's imperative on you to make sure that doesn't happen. At the same time, though, I don't really worry too much yet. I think it's the wrong question. The question right now is not who's winning or losing, in my opinion. It goes back to the first one. Is the opportunity in front of us still big or is it not, right? Is it sustainable or is it not? Because presumably we're not in a saturated, mature market. Like we better not be.
Sure.
And if the opportunity is still big, like they're both fine. If it's not big, they're all screwed, right? we're not at the point where I think you necessarily have to worry who's winning or losing yet. The pie is still hopefully getting bigger.
Okay, Stacey, we got to run, but your favorite first, second, and third choices.
Yeah. I mean, our general call this year has been kind of own the high quality AI names and ignore most of the rest. It's working pretty well. We like NVIDIA and Broadcom. I think you should still own both. The GPU versus ASIC narrative tends to go back and forth. You never know which way it's going to be. I think they're both winners. We like them both.